Hi, hello, hello, hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds, the good, the bad, the concerning, and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart,
Yeah, I am.
and me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
Yes, please and thanks. Let's do
Okay,
that.
let's just. How are you doing, friend? How are you?
I'm okay. This week was rough.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Monday
man.
was a ting and a half, but I got through it with God's help. Like honestly, I was so stressed out. Like
Yeah.
it all just came to head. Like everything is just a lot right now, and so Monday was a horrible day. Tuesday was a horrible day for my fiance, and we're just glad that we made it through
Yes.
because
Amen.
locks. Yes,
Yeah.
but otherwise, I'm alive, I'm well, and my sanity is intact.
That's good. Yeah,
Boy,
you had called me in the middle.
questionable.
You had called me in the middle of the week. You had called me in the middle of the week, and that's not like we usually talk at like once or twice a week. That's typical. But
True,
the timing, I was like, wait a minute, this is unusual.
right?
And then not that I always welcome a call from you, but yeah, when you told me everything, I was like, yeah. Sometimes you have those days, where everything just happens at once and it just
Yeah.
like really
Mm-hmm.
literally it's like this
Overwhelming. Very
overwhelming. It's
overwhelming.
like you literally have this. I've had that happen before, and usually I could feel it creeping on, but like you said, if everything just happens one time, it's like, yeah, and you just give yourself grace, let yourself have that emotional
Yeah,
outburst. You have
yeah,
to.
and
It's
exactly,
normal.
I did, and for the rest of the week, I just tried to take it as easy as I could. That happens when, as people, we're just overwhelmed and overstretched.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're stretching ourselves thin, but it is what it is, and I made it true. So
yeah, you
thank
made it through.
God,
Yeah.
thank you Jesus, because He was the only one that was walking with me as I was losing my mind. But anyways. How are
Yeah.
you doing, girl? How you doing?
Oh, my week was pretty good. Something I'm trying to do is really not like let stress get to me, and I think that's an
Mm-hmm.
easier said than done, but really just
Mm-hmm.
trying to take moments to woosah, just
Mm-hmm.
think things through, and yeah, just like because I've only been in my job is 6 months, and I think once you get to that 6 months, that's when you really start try maybe it's probably an internal thing, not necessarily external, but that's when you really
Mm-hmm.
find your groove. And once you find your groove, the expectation is a lot more. And I guess just managing that. But it's good. I'm excited. But other than that, it was a really beautiful week. Also
That's
went
good.
to
That's good.
had a team brunch sometime in the middle of the week. I think it was Thursday, which is perfect. It wasn't too hot. Tuesday was so hot. I wouldn't want to be
It
out
was so
anywhere.
hot.
But we went
Yeah.
to Coast, and it's on the rooftop of Bisha Hotel downtown. And
Oh,
it's a
nice.
beautiful place to have brunch and dinner because you get this unobstructed view of the CN Tower and the
Oh,
city.
wow.
Highly recommend if you come to Toronto or visit Toronto. Coast atmosphere is booming. It's hard to get a reservation. Book like maybe a couple weeks ahead, but
Mm-hmm.
worth the wait. So yeah, that was a fun little week.
Might just
Families.
check that out.
Oh, I
Yes.
actually had something that happened yesterday that I have to share because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really proud of myself, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it either.
Yeah, don't
So
do that. Don't do that.
yesterday
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to go see the dressmaker who's making a bridesmaid dress for your wedding.
Yay!
And when I came out of the car, I was kind of dilly dallying. I parked in the front of the building because it was super quiet, and I just didn't think I was gonna. I knew I was gonna go in there pretty quickly and come out, so I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna leave my
Yeah.
car in the front of the place. When I came out, I went to my trunk, and then I heard somebody screaming for help, and I wasn't sure. You never know in those scenarios. It's
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be
are my
careful. It's sad to say, but yeah, you gotta be
are my
careful.
ears deceiving me? And I literally stood there for an extra minute or two, and then like, and after about a minute or two, I was like, yeah, somebody's clearly um in distress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what to do. I'm so confused, and I was like
Mm-hmm.
hoping somebody would come around the building, or if they have some type of security. It's an old building, so I doubted it. And I tried to call back the lady that I went to. She didn't pick up her phone because I wanted to see if she had some security, if there's anybody I could, like,
Mhm.
you know, because the
Oh,
thing is,
yeah.
I don't know if you know the area, but it's been a while since you've been on this side of town. But on Lawrence, there's like a bridge. So, because she's at Lawrence and Orton Park, between there and
Oh yeah, I
Morningside.
know where that is.
And there's
Yeah.
like a bridge there, and in front of the building, it's fenced off, so I can't see where I was standing. It's fenced off, and it's very steep, and it's very green, so I can't see anything. I could
Mhm.
see people walking across the bridge, and I'm like, is it somebody at the bridge? Because it sounded so clear, but because it's so quiet, like usually that building is usually busy, lots of cars in the front. It was so, for whatever reason, it was just me. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my god. And I'm like, I'm like, what do I do? I was just like froze. Like I didn't, but I was just like, I don't even know what to do. I got in my car and left because the Uber driver that was there and heard it too. He ignored it and left. I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm like, is there like, and I wanted to call the non-emergency because I don't want fire engine and everything, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Right? I
exactly.
don't really, I can't see, but I do have a feeling there was water there. So anyway, when I got back home, I'm like, Lona, I have to call to make somebody at least go check. So I called
Mhm.
911 and I told them what happened, and they said they'd check it out, and I gave them my number. They never called me back, so I'm assuming they didn't see anything. That's what I'm assuming. But if there's, I was damn sure that somebody was in distress. So who knows? But nobody called, so I'm assuming, God willing, nothing happened to that person. Hopefully they're
Well,
okay.
you know what? I think you did what you thought you should do
Mm-hmm.
at the time. So I wouldn't beat myself up about it at all. I mean, at least you cared enough to check in and check up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think I only feel bad because I waited. Because I still, you still have that nagging feeling. It's like, did I really hear what I heard? It's, when you're the only one, that's the thing. Like, if somebody else is there, you could look at each other and be like, yeah, I think something's definitely going down. And that's me. Like, I'm not really good with decisiveness, like, in like a moment of pressure.
hmm
So that's the only thing I
no,
feel
but
bad. But
I mean, but I don't know. Even if I were standing there with you, like as a friend,
yeah,
I might have still been like, maybe I'm hearing things, or
yeah,
maybe my mind is playing tricks on me, or maybe that's someone's phone,
right?
or
Like,
you know
yeah,
what I mean. Like, I wouldn't. I like to be honest. I don't think I would have just responded. You know what I mean? I don't think I would
yeah.
have just went into like
Yeah,
hero
because
mode
yeah,
right
a
off
hero,
the
right?
jump.
Like
Like,
people just
I
don't do
don't
that
think
because
so.
this isn't a movie. But anyway, I'm gonna assume whatever the worst case scenario I was thinking in my head, I'm gonna assume that wasn't the case and keep it moving because I literally went on CP24 because it's actually called, it was a part of Highland Creek, so there is water. I can't
Yeah.
see it, but there is water there. So because it right, and then but
No, I think you did. I think you did what a lot of people would have done, but I think you went even a step farther. To be quite honest, at the time, as a single woman standing there, I like we're in a time,
mhm,
Jeanette. You have to realize we're in a time where people are pulling tricks left, right, and center to dupe
mhm.
other people.
Yes,
So
that's
I
what I
don't think
felt. I'm
I would
like,
have
is somebody just trying?
responded
Like,
right off the rip.
I kind of
I
felt
think
like
I would
it's,
have done the same thing you did. Like I
I
think
kind
I
of,
would have,
yeah, I
you
kind
know.
of felt like somebody was like, am I being punked? Like, I did have that moment. Is somebody have a camera on me and like looking at me like
But
fucking?
that's the time that we live in, and people do that. People do that. You know what I mean? For clicks and views. And I know it's sad that we have to think twice, but if I were a single woman and I'm thinking, did I hear that? Did I hear what I thought I heard? I think I would have responded the same way. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't feel no way about that. And you know what? Prayers up to whatever was happening. You know, the right people went to go check on it. If something really had popped off, that you would have heard about it. Trust and believe.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah,
Okay, so okay, well, I wanted to get off of that. Like, I just that was
yes.
a, interesting. That doesn't
It
happen very
is
regular.
interesting. It is very interesting, actually. We should probably do a deep dive one day on exactly that.
Yeah, that the psychology of that, right? Like, but
Right.
anyway, moving on. I wanted to say that it's actually our 1 year
Yay!
anniversary. Yay!
Yes.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yes. Hey. Hey.
But yeah, so it's our 1 year anniversary. I was thinking about it last week when we were recording. I'm like, I think it's about this time we did our first end of May, around end of May, that we recorded the first episode. And then I checked
Mhm.
and saw, yeah, our
Mhm.
first episode went up June 2nd, 2021. So we're
Wow.
about a year into it. So a
We did
year
a
of
whole
hearts and
year into
minds,
it.
northern views, and I think we did really good. It's like,
I think so too. I think we improved. We talked about a lot of important issues, and
hmm,
I think the sky's the limit because we're 1 years old at this time. But don't worry, we're gonna keep pushing
we're gonna keep pushing,
and
and
doing the damn thing because we got things to say.
got things to
Okay.
say, and we want to be consistent. And if anything, anybody who's been listening from the beginning, you may have seen a shift from the Wednesdays to the Thursdays to this week it was Friday. But we work 9 to 5s, and but
Yeah.
one thing I'm really trying to do is make sure that we have an episode every week, whether it's a fresh new episode, whether it's an earlier one of our favorite earlier episodes
Exactly.
that our new listeners may not have caught. We're gonna have
Exactly.
something for you every week. And hail us up and let us know if
This is
there's
what
any
I'm
topic you
saying.
want to talk about, you have any questions. We'd love to hear listener questions. So
Please,
hail us
please.
up on social media,
It
which,
would be so awesome. It would
yeah.
be great. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just what I wanted to say. Yeah, just trying to keep it moving and be consistent, and we
Yeah.
hope our listeners,
What you reminded me, right? Because I was going through the shits last week, right? So
yeah.
when you reminded me, I was like, what? For
Mhm.
real? Like, I can't even believe, in a year's time, my mind is so cluttered with all this crap that I totally missed our anniversary of our podcast. And I'm proud of us. Like, I really am proud of us because I think, you know, yeah, we might have changed the day, but we're being consistent where we want you guys to hear something from us at least once a week. And so, I know you guys are rocking with us, and you're open to the change, and there's going to be other things that will change too. We want to keep it fresh and spicy, you know. So, but I'm really proud of our little show, and I'm proud of our dedication to it. Because it is hard when you're out here trying to live life and do all the rest of the what's nots, and still have some content of some kind for you guys to listen to. And it would be great to hear back from you and get some feedback, some questions, some comments, whatever's clever. um, it's a good time. It's a good time.
And continue to share the episodes. Tell a friend. We
To tell
want
a friend to tell a
tell a
friend.
friend to tell a friend. Yeah. And okay, so just wanted to call it out, pat ourselves in the back, do a little
Yay!
celebration.
Good job,
Good
Jeanette.
job, Kimmy.
Yes,
So
do
let's
the
move
damn thing.
into our headlines. And the first thing I
Hmm.
was going to talk about, we're going to keep it local. We like to be in touch with what's going on politically. At least we try. And so
Yes,
this week,
especially where we're from.
yeah,
This is we like to report on
and
things that where we're from. You
something that's
know,
really important to me, I think, especially with how the world has been going on, all the craziness, is that appreciating the freedoms that we have here in this country. And one of those freedoms
yep,
is being able to elect your political leaders. There are lots of
yep,
countries where there's voter suppression, where you're not even allowed to
yep.
vote, there's corruption. So at least we have the freedom here that we have a semi-transparent, at least for the most part, transparent political system, that we
Yes,
can trust. That when we're voting,
you will
the
be
voters,
held. Yeah, it will be
the
held
people's voice
accordingly.
will be
Yeah.
heard. Yeah, the people's voice will be
Definitely.
heard.
And one thing I want to big up Canada for is
Mhm.
that they push election stuff on you. Like they want you to vote. They are mailing you all sorts of things, reminders left, right, and center. The new you can't turn on a radio and don't hear about it. They push that because they definitely want everybody's input on how this country is run. And uh, we can semi trust the system. I mean, can you really trust politics? Period. Like that's a whole discussion in itself. Can you trust the politicians? And so here in Canada, at least what am proud of being a Canadian is that they do want to hear from you, and they make it very easy. They make it very easy. I'll give you an example. So usually my daughter's school, if they have a PA day, public announced holiday or whatever, or not holiday, but a day where they're not attending school, it would be on a Monday or Friday. Well, this week, okay, I got dropped the bomb on Wednesday that they're having a PA day on the Thursday for the election. So they're willing to take our children out of the schools.
Yeah, even even
Today.
at work, I used to. I don't know how it is for you, but you were allowed to book off time to vote.
This
Like
see
you could.
this
Mm,
is the type of progressive country that we live in. Is that they'll do anything to have you there at filling out your ballot. They
mm-hmm.
want you there. They want you to vote. They want it to be second nature to Canadian citizens to go ahead and vote. There's no red tape. They make it super easy for you to vote.
Yeah.
So
Did you
the
vote,
fact,
Kimmy?
mm, mm, yeah, no.
Okay. Well, you know what? You know
I
why?
no, hold on, no, hold on, no, don't put me out there in Front Street, girl. No, but the thing is, with this time around, I didn't vote because I didn't get the chance. I know I could have had the chance. Every school around here was open for me to do so,
Mhm.
as well as other places, but I didn't. And I'm at a standstill with this politics bullshit. Like I
Mhm.
really am,
Mhm.
only because of what we're living in right now. And
Yeah.
I feel like
You're not the only.
sometimes, not
Mhm.
all the time, and it doesn't matter if you're in the States or across the world, I feel like politicians always have an agenda that they only give you partial information on. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
And this time around with the elections, I didn't vote. But when it came to the federal, I did. Definitely. I'm on that. Like, I want to know when they had going up against Trudeau the other day, I made sure I went out
Mhm.
to vote. And as a black Canadian, I vote. But I didn't get to do it this last week. So,
Okay.
but I already predicted what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Not that my vote doesn't count. It definitely counts. However, I already knew what was popping. So tell them what was popping, Jeanette. Tell them what happened in the election this time.
So pretty much, why I called you out a little, just a little.
Yeah, I know you put me on First Street. That's okay.
So this was
Ah.
one of the headlines for the Ontario election was that it was the lowest voter turnout since 1975.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously, I think that what you said about the apathetic or apathetic feeling, or you felt like, I think a lot of people felt like you. They just felt like you, and also like I was taking a look at the early polls because I wanted to vote early, and the
Mm-hmm.
writing was on the wall. So if I was you, I thought you were going to say that. I thought you were going to say I knew the PCs were going to win, Doug Ford was going to win,
Well,
and so you didn't bother.
I didn't even know why they called an election and wasted a whole heap of money. To be quite honest, I really didn't. I didn't understand it. So I was just like, you know what? If I do, I do. If I get the chance, I get the chance. I always make it a point to vote when it comes to the federal elections, though. I make sure because they're the ones that really um, they really set the tone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They set the tone because Doug Ford can go back and forth and ask, for whatever he wants, but at the federal level, they make the decision as to what he will get, and
Mhm.
so and how he can run, Toronto. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. A lot of people I heard, are just like done with this whole politics business, and yeah, yeah. But what did you do? Hey, I'm gonna put you on blast. So did you vote?
Of course I did. That's why I felt right.
Okay.
I felt I was
Okay.
righteous enough. I was even
Okay.
going to vote early, but I just didn't have time. So
Mm-hmm.
I made it a point to vote because again, I'm seeing what's going on, and it's I think on all levels it's important, and so I made a point to go. And so they said 43% of eligible voters voted for the provincial election.
Mm-hmm.
and that was down from 50, call it 57%. So that's a pretty significant decrease from 2018 to this year.
Yeah, and they were
Um,
probably a lot of small businesses that was included in that.
yes, I
Uh,
think
Small
honestly,
business owners.
I'm gonna be honest. Like NDP and liberals weren't really saying anything. To be honest, I didn't
That's
really.
like
So,
this. Okay.
and that's why liberals. I mean, I'm surprised. So I pretty much feel like I think NDP came in second in terms of the amount of seats. So that's to tell you, the liberals, they need a new leader. I don't know what's
Definitely.
going on, but so whatever. The writing was on the wall. I'm not mad. I understand
And
why
it
Doug
was a
Ford won.
while ago.
Hmm.
It was a while ago. I felt like, a lot of people were just mad at Doug Ford for some of the decisions that he made.
Hmm.
But, again, I'm going to give him grace because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what it's like to be him.
No, I honestly think, in all honesty, if I were to rate him, I personally don't think any other leader would have done a much better job. Any leader in this
No.
position was going to be scrutinized no matter what. Just like
And
Trudeau, like you're just not going to
exactly.
win. You're just not going to win.
Exactly, and
Mm.
it doesn't matter. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you
Yes,
don't.
exactly. So,
And so, and I feel like sometimes, Doug Ford is the middle guy. He's
yeah,
the middle guy. That's why I say whenever there's a federal election where we're talking about Justin Trudeau and and that level, I make sure I vote.
hmm,
But he's a middle guy, and so the federal government kind of dictates to him how he's going to move.
hmm,
And so if they don't allow him to, or they don't give him the funding, or if they don't, then what's he supposed to do? What's he supposed to do? And so if I were to rate him out of 10 in terms of all the politicians and all of the promises that I've heard over the years from the age of 18 to now, of all the people that I've voted for, I would give him a 7. I would give him a 7. I think there's room for improvement. I
yeah,
think that
he was pretty solid.
um,
I have to say, he was
he's a
solid.
pretty solid. Listen. He kept us safe.
Yeah.
He did, and there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me about that. Maybe if I was a small business owner, I would think differently.
Hmm.
Maybe. Um, and speaking of which, just quick story. So up here, in York region, every now and then I like to take my daughter out to like a small business
Yeah,
and
that's good.
have a burger or, like a nice burger joint.
Yeah,
Well, there's one that's close by my parents' house, and I used to take her to it all the time. Whenever, that burger craving came
yeah.
around.
It's a little
And
treat.
I passed by it today,
Hmm.
and it was closed. And
Ooh.
I was so saddened because this is a mom and pop shop that you can tell there were memories. You could tell that it was a part of the community.
Hmm.
And they made good food. Like
Hmm.
made some real good food. However, I also said, but my daughter saw me like really, baffled and sad at the same time, and she's like, it's just a burger place. And I was like, no, you don't understand. That was a part of the community that's gone.
Hmm.
They've been around for a long time. But then I said, they didn't step up with the game. They
Oh,
didn't. They didn't step up with the game. They
they need to
didn't.
get on Uber and
You
shit.
need to get on Uber. You need to get on DoorDash. You need to have a delivery driver of your own,
Something.
especially
Yeah.
something where you can spread out. And it's unfortunate, right? So maybe my opinion is a little bit biased because I'm not in that position and it's not my life's work. You understand? However, you're alive.
But like
You're
well, that's what I was. Well, to that point, something that I think I'm going to be incorporating a lot when I talk on here is talk about the growth mindset, and it's something I'm really trying to adopt. It's really the culture that I've kind of got employed in, and but it's always
big
something
time.
I've believed. It's always something I believed, and something that growth. Like, okay, so for example, there was a restaurant that opened around COVID. Somewhere it's called Naan. I think it's Naan and Kebab, and it's pretty much an Afghanistan restaurant
Hmm.
at Kennedy and Shepherd in Scarborough, Agent Court area, and just shutting them out because every time I'd go, I always go on my walks and I'd buy my lottery at the little corner store there. And then one time I'm like, let me go in and see what's going on because I like it. Looked like it's like Middle Eastern food, but because Afghanistan, there's like a little Indian flavor because
Right.
Afghanistan is right
Right.
by. So it's like
Yep.
typical, like chicken.
Kebab.
Sovaki and
Yeah.
chicken kebab and those type of things. So I go there and then they went on a ritual. Every time I went there, the girl's like, "Yeah, we're on Instagram, and Uber and stuff. We have to pay them. So if you don't mind, you could order on this site. Then we get more money back." And she was always saying that every time she sees me all the time. She knows that I know, but she's always telling me because I'm sure she probably tells all her customers, and that's just an
Yeah.
example of growing with the situation. Like it
Yeah.
sucks. Like if you want your business to, yes, you're adding the delivery services, but when your customers do come in and you get to talk to them, let them know, okay, yes, we do that, but we also have our own site where we can, which would be better for our
Exactly.
business if you can. And from then
Yeah.
now, every time I do want to kind of pre-order before I go, I I'll order the pickup on their site just to help their business and growth. Everybody, you have to adapt. What you see people doing to
Well,
adapt,
this is the time,
hoping and
and
praying.
to be quite honest,
Mhm.
during the lockdowns that we experienced in this pandemic, the food industry,
Mm.
they were the
They
ones
took
that
a hit,
benefited the
boy.
most.
Yeah,
No, well, the ones that adapted, the
adapt.
ones
You have
that
to adapt.
adapted,
Hmm.
they improve. They were able to either maintain or go elevate just a little bit,
Mm.
because everybody needs to eat,
Hmm.
and not everybody knows how to
And
cook.
people got tired of their own cooking. I know I did. After a while,
I
I
know
was
I
like,
did. I know I got tired of it, and some people don't want to go into a grocery store.
that too.
Yeah, and some people don't know how to cook, and some people don't have a lifestyle. Even like the frontline workers, they don't have time to cook. So I heard in the industry where people did adapt, they were able to actually open other locations. So they were able to adapt to the point where they were being successful. So, but in terms of, because I don't want to get lost from the rest of the headlines, but
Yeah, we kind of
in terms
got
of
we
the
went
election,
off.
I know Doug Ford won, and I'm hoping that this election shook him up and made him realize that you could be out one day, or no, in one day and out the other. So get it together. Improve from the 7. You need to be a solid 9. I don't think you're ever going to be perfect. Because of everything around you and trying to please so many people. But you need to elevate, Doug. You need to elevate just a little bit. But thanks for keeping us safe, because it could have been a lot worse. And when it was a lot worse around the world, we were holding steady. So that didn't come from nowhere. You
Okay,
know.
so moving on, we
Mm-hmm.
spoke with about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard last week in our
Mm-hmm.
episode, and so this week we found out that he technically won. So the jury awarded him the $50 million.
The
I guess
15. Yeah.
15 million after the for defamation. I guess the defamation case against Amber, and
Mm-hmm.
so this was a
But she got 2 mil.
huh?
So
Yeah, she already got
she
some.
got 2 mil out of the
Yeah, so that's the
equation.
thing. So she got some money and he got more. So technically, I guess that's why he got the more money. So I guess technically he won. But I think he won. It's more than money because we know Johnny doesn't need no money. But I think
No,
more this helped restore his reputation and
that's
the pretty
definitely.
much the blow to his career after Amber wrote that op-ed and spoke out against Johnny Depp. And all one thing I just want to say is if you have dirty laundry,
Please,
if you have dirty laundry,
if the laundry dirty,
don't open up, don't be talking about somebody else.
keep the hamper closed,
Keep the
please, ma'am.
hamper closed, girl. Keep it
Please,
closed
I
because
beg.
your laundry was ugh.
Not only do you have the dirty laundry, but you are stand in a glass house. You understand? You're inside the glass house with the dirty clothes. Them. Listen.
she
Okay.
she never had a great reputation, but now it's in the pits. Like
The
she's
woman
done.
is psychopathic.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
narcissist, chronic.
She's no, no. I no. There was a level, because I watched this case intensely. Okay, I
Okay,
watched it
okay.
and I kept up in it, and I saw the evidence and I saw how she was, drilled. And I want to say one thing before I go on with that is Camille, which is one of Johnny Depp's lawyers. You did the
She did it.
damn thing,
Everybody loves
okay?
her. Everybody loves her.
No, I love her because she was consistent, she was respectful, and she knew exactly what she was getting at. And she knew exactly how to expose this woman. And she exposed her so well
Mm.
that anybody with half of a noggin would understand that this woman was lying, not only in the actual court case at the time, but through all this from 2016. Okay, through all this. Amber Heard is batshit crazy. Period. She is batshit crazy, okay? In narcissism times 10. Like, I would say she's on the verge of, like, a personality disorder of some kind. Because the way that this woman kept steady with the lies, even when she was being caught up in the lies, she was still steady with the lies. And at one point, Camille said, and I was like, thank you, Camille, because this is what was on my brain. She's like, how is everybody lying? Everybody in here is lying. Everybody. Somebody came from England. I think it was an assistant of Amber Heard. Came from England. She didn't expect that. The TMZ representative that she leaked the something to. Him come now. And you're still alive? The police officer... how many? 3 different police officers came in the course of all of this shenanigans from 2016. And how much...
and hence why he won.
Thank you.
So
yes, Johnny.
Yes, good. Congratulations, Johnny, and I hope you get some roles, and stop drinking, Johnny. Just stop the drinking.
I'm not going to go too deep into it because I was talking about it last week, but this is the 80-20 rule that I was talking about. And in this particular relationship, we understand and we get the dynamics and we see on how they won. There was toxicity to the 10th degree, and they should have never been together at all. They should have never got together. This woman was an agent of chaos. She came in and she destroyed this man's life. Literally. Okay? And yes, she walked away with $2 million. And the only reason why is because this was a chaotic relationship that Johnny Depp should have never got his old ass into in the first place. However, he wanted the 80-20 rule. He had what he needed from his baby mom. But he never saw fit to make her a wife or something. Nothing at all. Leave her, dash her away for this crazy ass heifer because she's young. She's young, she's fresh. You want that young thing on your arm because you're getting to be an old man in the industry. Okay, she gave you life, yeah? And she took it away. Yes, she sure did. Because guess what? You should have never messed with her in the first place.
Yeah.
But you did. Kudos to you. But now, right. So we see what you actually signed up for. And it was that 20%. That percent that really doesn't do you or give you anything that you need in a relationship. And it was so toxic. It was disgusting. But I will say, Johnny, what you have done is you've given men an outlet. You've given them a way where, because I don't think anybody should abuse anybody. No, I don't care if you're man, woman. Yeah, exactly. I don't give a shit. So men, a lot of the times as women in this society, we feel that we can do things to them and hit them and hurt them, and that it should go undetected, unnoticed, uncared about, untalked about. And Johnny Depp, he brought it back in and he said, at the very least, I'm going to expose you for who you are. And now this woman is a hated woman internationally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's done for.
There's a petition that has over 4 million people who have signed to have her removed from the next Aquaman series of the movie. Then now I want to see her face again. 4 million people, Regin. Sign up for that. So they're going to have to really think twice. It doesn't matter how much money they put in. You don't want people not to go to see the movie because that's money lost. So what would be real poetic justice in this case is if this woman is like struck of all of her accolades and all of her efforts as an actress and go sit herself down someplace with her $2 million and try to make that work. Okay, try to make that work. But I'm glad that Johnny Depp gave men who, because I've seen it myself, where women will use abuse, physical abuse, as a weapon against a man,
A
and
man
then,
who won't put his hand on you, really. Yeah,
thank you, who would
he
never
won't.
do that, who
They
would
never.
never think
That's
to
why
do
they're
that.
bold enough to do that.
Right, and so, in our society we automatically believe the woman right
Hmm.
off the rip, and yes, we should,
We should.
we should, but we need to do some more investigation, because this girl had a whole bruise kit on to put on her face and take. This is a crazy ass heifer. So pay up, run Johnny Depp his money. Okay, run his money, 13 mil. Thank you, sir. Okay, this is ridiculous. But and one thing I did want to say about that, all jokes aside for a sec, would they have given such publicity to a case to a black man or a black woman or anybody of color? This case went on
No.
for donkey ass
The
years
only
over a
reason
defamation.
the only reason we got so much access and coverage is because it's Johnny Depp. Like not even
I
like
get it.
yeah.
I get it. I understand it. But this is like a 6 week something. I've seen mans them go to jail within 24 hours. Okay, within a week's time, they're locked up. Okay, for life. Oh, so that it was kind of disparaging that it was like we're putting so much effort and resources, judicial resources into this. You know, but it had to be done. It had to be done because I think she needed to feel the wrath that is Johnny Depp and Camille. Camille! Yes! When I look at you, you make me want to be a lawyer, girl. You do. But yeah, I'm not up for all that schooling. But moving on, though.
So moving on,
Mhm.
we're gonna talk about Monique versus DL Hughley. We couldn't get away from it this week, but we're gonna talk about it in our workout. So I won't spend too much time on it now. I'm gonna move on to T.I.'s son, King, and what happened at the Waffle House. And honestly, like I just how do I say this? Like it's so embarrassing because you are but I in one hand I get it. This is like maybe do you think this is typical teenager behavior, 16-year-old,
It
17-year-old
is.
behavior? I
It
think the
well,
only thing
he's
that
not.
was
He's like
strange
17. Like he's
17.
17 or something like that. It is typical. Okay, so how about we talk about what he did
So
briefly?
basically, there's a video. So King Harris was at the Waffle House with his friends and recording himself. And I don't know if you can. Maybe he was talking loud and swearing and being
Well,
very.
what happened was he went into the Waffle House. He ordered a hamburger. There was pickles on the hamburger. He didn't want the pickles, and so he started carrying on with the short order
Mhm,
chef or
mhm.
cook, sorry, and carrying on in the Waffle House, and then taking it from inside to outside, and just causing a general scene. Um, Now, is that a teenager thing? Of course, that's a
Mhm,
teenager thing
mhm.
because his testosterone makes him think that he's Superman or something.
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't know that guy. You don't know him. You don't know if he could do something to you. You're thrusted into the limelight because of your parents. And I think a part of this being a teenager thing was a privileged teenager. He's a very privileged young man.
Mhm,
He is a part of a legacy that his parents have built, and he gets to reap the benefit of that, whether it's through money or being known or popularity or being able to just do things that other people can't do. Now, what you having pickles on your burger, was that the kind of response? No, I would have hoped that your parents would have taught you better than that. But I think he's, you know, uh, there's parts of that dynamic with him and his parents that I don't particularly like. I've seen over the years of him growing up, like Ti specifically, and he kind of takes like a backseat to his nonsense. Like he kind of lets him do a lot of things that, as a young teenager, he shouldn't be doing or being exposed to. For instance, there's a video that was online where he was smoking marijuana in the jacuzzi of their house,
Mhm.
and Ti is like kikiing about it, and it's like, but hold on, that's not funny. Their older daughter that had a child that was pregnant, pretty young in her life. Um, it was like, he wants to keep all of his girls under lock and key, but his boys can roam and do
Yeah.
whatever the hell they want to do. And it's like you're setting the wrong precedent that way. And you can see that in his response about a pickle on his burger. Like, really?
I
Really?
think I think everything was normal until he did the threat. He threatened to pistol whip somebody. That's what I have a problem with. And then talking down to people with money. But again, that would seem normal. And not only is it normal for the teenager thing is made even worse because he's very rich, right? With his parents' money, so he's flaunting that. But I think the pistol whip is where I have an issue. But I'm not going to pay it too much mind. I mean, nothing came out of it, but I think what was weird is that
He's
when
done this before, though, Jeanette. Like, he goes around
well, he's going to get it one
trying.
day.
Yeah, well,
and
this is
and
the
the
thing,
Waffle
right?
House was the wrong place because I heard the Waffle House, the employees at the Waffle House don't take no shit, and that's why they didn't feel no ways to cuss him
And,
off.
and justfully so. It's a pickle. It's a pickle, bro. Like, how you're responding and how you're carrying on is not necessary. It was so far left, and he has a history of doing this.
Mm,
I feel like King is involved with things that he shouldn't be at his young age.
mhm.
Now, Ti responded to it, and he was like, why does the media focus on his negative when he just graduated with honors and from high school and blah 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 blah.
Because he's
Well,
threatening to pistol whip people, so
well,
that negates
and
everything.
what part of what he was saying that really rocked me the wrong way was, it's a threat when you say tell your mom Happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
In the street, that means she's gonna bury you.
Mhm.
That's what that means, and
Mhm.
that you're gonna do something to have her, bury her child.
Yeah.
And that I felt was kind of very deep and dark. And for a young man to be that deep and dark, what is he being exposed to?
Yeah, well,
I
we know
don't
what he's
know.
being exposed to. We
Well,
know.
this is it,
We've
right?
been following Ti's career. We know. But anyway, moving on for the foolishness.
Mm-hmm. Because it is foolishness. And
Foolishness.
one thing to King, like my mama always said, there's always somebody bigger and better than you.
There's
So
a
watch
lot. I feel like
yourself.
there's a lot of people bigger and badder than him.
Yeah, and money or no money.
None or
You know what I
nobody.
mean? Money or no money. You might think say you're big and you're bad, but there's someone bigger and better than you. So mind how you step. Mind how you step. You're going around like a tyrant in the place. Mind how you step. But anyhow, kudos to King and his nonsense. Moving on.
Okay, so I was gonna go into music news. I was gonna talk about Jack Harlow and Brandy, but that's kind of old news, and I don't care. But the only thing I would say about Jack Harlow, that a big debate that's been going on, is his most recent album. Is very successful. I took a quick listen to it. The song with Drake. It's good. It's solid. I think. I don't think it was like I
It's
wasn't blown
I.
away. It's all right. It's all right. But it's been doing really, it's considered very successful with the amount of streams that it's gotten and everything. And people are saying that he is privileged because he's white. And I wanted to ask what you think of that in terms of his success. Do you okay, let me put it this way. Let me not use that because honestly, white privilege is like such an overused phrase. I'm like it's kind of like what's another overused phrase right now? Um
Protect black women.
yeah,
Mm.
well,
It is overused.
yes, it's being used to gaslight
Exactly.
and certain situations, i.e. Monique, who we'll talk about later.
That's why I
But
said it. But yes, pushing forward.
yeah, so more how I would
Is he
reword it.
privileged? Probably. Probably he is privileged. And I don't want to say privilege, but
Yeah, that's what I
there's
was going to
no
change it.
real way else to describe that. Like,
I was going to say, is his whiteness contributing to his success, or is his music
definitely,
okay?
definitely, because I feel like as a black artist, it's almost like you have to grind. Like you have to grind to get to a point of such success. But I will say that I don't want to take talent to people. Like I don't want to take people who are talented like that um, drive and that effort and that ambition. I'm sure he was able to sit at tables that a lot of people have to work really hard to sit at
Yeah.
right off the rip. Um, but he is talented. I'm
Yes,
not
he
going to
is.
say that
Yeah,
he's
he has
not.
some big songs. I'm not gonna lie. The song that he had with the baby poppin', that was huge. Even the song, I think the song where he covered Fergie's song,
Yeah,
and
that
I
that's
think that
still
was a big.
rocking right
That's
now.
still rocking. That's on the album. So don't get me wrong. He actually makes great music, but I just
But
think
could it also be said that you're kind of culture vulture here? Like could be.
I don't know. I don't know. I won't.
Could be.
I don't know
Could
enough about him to say that, but
well, you know, music is music and I feel if you're talented, it shouldn't matter what genre,
yes, exactly.
but you're taking from a genre that was not created by you or people
well,
that look like you.
yeah, but I guess he was inspired by it. That's something I saw him on the
Yeah,
Breakfast
okay,
Club.
that's
Yeah,
that's great. You have inspiration. Well, can you take it and do something for yourself,
yeah.
or start something different?
I don't
You know
know.
what I mean? Like a lot of the music that I hear that he, not to say I'm not, and again, I don't want to take that. He is talented.
Hmm.
He is, but hey, I'll keep my reservations about
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Let's give it. I'm gonna give him a chance. I haven't seen anything enough to say that he's a culture vulture or anything. I would more say like Post Malone, even though he has like crazy hits and stuff, and I think
But
he's
look
more of
at
a.
what Post
I
Malone.
think
Look where
he's
he
more.
got that from.
I think he's more of a culture vulture, but that's a discussion for another day. But moving
Yes,
on,
talented talent. Hmm.
BT nominations are out, and so Doja Cat had a one hell of a year. She deserves it.
Hmm.
She was nominated for the most. She was nominated the most for the upcoming BT awards. Then Ari Lennox, Drake, Baby Keem, ooh, who I love, Baby Keem and Silk Sonic.
Hmm.
These are all names that, yeah, they should be nominated. They have a tendency to. I feel like there's a lot of favoritism with the BT Award nominations. They're always
Yes.
weird. I'm always like, who? So it's just like the executives sitting in a room. Like, who made this? Like, I always feel like who they nominate and who wins is always sketchy. But
And
regardless,
is there a public vote that's
either
being
yeah, there's none.
in
But I feel like
consideration?
we need a little bit more. They need to make it more. What's the word? Democratic. I guess that's what
Yes.
bring in. Like even if it's representatives, like the Grammys, representatives of their recording academy, something to make it seem more than just BT executives sitting in a room with making up stuff. That's what it feels like
Right?
to me. And so Little Nas
Sorry,
X had something.
Jeanette,
Yeah,
sorry to cut you, but I really have to go.
go.
Just
Yep,
give me one
I'll
second.
pause.
Okay, Baby King.
Okay, so those were the big nominations. So excited to see. We'll have a recap when that airs, and then Lil
Mm-hmm.
Nas X actually had something to say when the nominations were released. And he tweeted, "Thank you BT Awards, an outstanding zero nominations again. Black excellence, obviously dripping with sarcasm." And he followed the tweet again with, I don't know, maybe three of the biggest songs of last year and a critically acclaimed album. I feel like that should have helped me a bit. And so,
Little
obviously,
Nas X, you think so highly of yourself. Like, go sit down, please.
I mean, if one thing Lil Nas X is gonna do, Montero, I like saying Montero better. Montero, one thing
Mm-hmm.
Montero is gonna do is go on social media and cause up a stir. So that's like his brand. So I'm not surprised. And then somebody else tweeted that he wasn't nominated because or eligible because he's more of a pop artist, and I don't agree with that. I think people, and then obviously there's going to be some people who think that it's a lack of acceptance of his sexuality.
Oh no,
Um,
that's not it.
and he further tweeted that not
It's
even
the vials of blood in the shoes. That's
he
what it
says,
is.
I just feel like black gay people have to fight to be seen in this world, and even when we make it to the top, motherfuckers try to pretend we're invisible. And I don't know, like, we can't say what happened in that room, but I would more say here's where I think the BET Awards kind of snubbed him is I think it was his performance last year. It was kind of his performance caused the stirs before he went wild, buck wild for his performance for the BET Awards last year.
Hmm.
I think that's where he kissed one of his dancers, and I think it was a little too much for the BET audience. And I feel
Yeah.
that's what I feel they left. It's not that it's right. I don't think it's right, but I think that the snub came
I
from
don't think
that.
it's right either, but you have to understand that this is a business.
Hmm.
This is a business first, not, little Nas X's playground. Unfortunately, you've done too much. You did too much, and it doesn't always sit well with a lot of you know people. It doesn't sit a lot well with a lot of viewers, and so they have to think about the general um, wellness of the program and of the station and of BET, and what they want to stand for. You know what I mean? And I don't think it has anything to do with your sexuality. I think it has to do with you're doing too much. Um, your
Okay.
performance, your first performance, like, come on. I don't know. I wouldn't be calling you back. I don't know. I don't know. It's too much. It's
Well,
just too
anyway,
much.
that's the BT Awards. That was a little drama. There's always drama when it comes to nominations for these awards. So this year came from Lil Nas X. And then so that's music news. So I'm gonna move on to Wagwan for real.
Wagwan, for real.
And then for Wagwan for real, a couple episodes back, we spoke about Young Thug and Gunna getting indicted on RICO charges, and that's related to those are federal charges related to gang related activities.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because both of these artists were set up to have a big year. Well, Gunna already had his big year when he released his album, and Young Thug was just about to release a highly anticipated album. And
Mhm.
so now the newest story is that one of his obsessive fans, Young Thug's obsessive fans, is reportedly facing nearly 24 felony charges for
Oh
threatening to kill
gosh.
the Fulton County sheriff that arrested Young Thug. And so they said that this boy, he's 18, what is his name? Cordavius Mender? Whoa, this is a really interesting name. He
Mhm.
allegedly made multiple threats to the Fulton County Sheriff and his wife over the arrest
Wow.
of Young Thug and other members of the YSL crew. He reportedly made the threats in various comments on Instagram, Dum Dum, which was discovered by authorities. Um, Officials say the teen threatened to kill the sheriff and his wife
Wow.
and the Atlanta Public Schools Police Chief, Ronald Applin, unless one of the YSL defendants were released. And
Wow.
that so with this story, no surprise that he has been arrested and he is facing serious charges. Like he's definitely doing jail time, and it's a matter of how long.
Definitely. For a long time.
And the kids are not all right. The kids are
No.
not all right
No.
because you went on Instagram to make
And
these
that's
comments.
why it is under Wagwan for real. You're gonna go and put this and broadcast it? Like, really? Like, first of all, you're doing this for whom? They
Right?
don't know you. They
You
don't
don't.
care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They don't. Whatever you're doing, it's not gonna get you any favor with them. They don't care. Okay? For you to go to this lengths. Wow. And then to publicize it.
Yeah. It's
This is
one
the
thing if he
generation
was
that we're
sending.
living in now, I guess.
Ye-
Everything has to go on the social media down to the internet. And it's like, really?
mm.
Wow. Of course. And you made it easy for them to throw you in jail and toss the key out.
And the sad part is that's if that's how Young Thug. One of the things that was used, the evidence was used to indict Young Thug and everybody else involved in that
Yeah, and
crew
here you
was
are.
social media, his music and
And
social
here you
media.
are.
And you go on social media to threaten actual people who got him arrested. It's like, do you want it? You want? To me, it's saying you want to go to jail. Is it that you
I
want to
don't
go to
love my
jail
life.
and
I
hang
don't
out
love my
with Young
life.
Thug in jail? Is that what I want? Is that what you want, young man? I guess so.
But
Because
do
it
you
was
really think that Young Thug is going to give you the time of day?
no, yeah, he's obviously
He
disillusioned.
doesn't care about. He doesn't.
This guy's trying to get out of jail. He's fighting for his life. He's
He doesn't want to go to jail. Okay,
yeah,
he's not
and the
trying to
thing
go to
is that they're not
jail.
even giving him bond. Like that's
Thank
how
you.
serious the charges are. Young Thug is going to be in jail
Yeah.
until at least January 2023, from what I read.
Well,
Just
who's to
crazy.
say you're going to go to the same jail? Who's to say you're going to be in the same jail? Okay, first, second, with this type of nonsense being publicized, I almost have to question your sanity.
Oh no, it's
I
giving
have to
brain.
question your sanity.
It's giving brain dead. Like like the brain cells are gone.
Or not loving life of any kind. Like
Yeah.
I am baffled by this. I really am. I'm baffled by it because I don't know if you think you're a hero. Like I don't. That's why I say your mental stability has to be examined at this point, especially to publicize it. It's like you want to get caught. It's like I guess you deliberately want to get caught so you can be in the jail with the young thug who has money and resources to get out of jail
Mm.
or not even go to jail. So you're throwing away your life?
Parents, talk to your kids. Um, just talk to your kids.
Definitely. Talk to your kids. And not only that, but get involved. Like get involved. I know it's hard. Especially if you're a single parent, it can be hard, but you need to put the priorities where they're supposed to be, and that's in your children.
Yep.
Your children's future are your future in essence. You know, why do we have to go down to the internet with it, man?
Yeah, but that's it.
It's craziness, Jeanette. It's craziness. Like, I'm not advocating for crime at all. But I'm of a generation where you kept that shit on the low. Like, when you were doing dirt, you didn't publicize it. You didn't you post it on the 6 o'clock news. Like, you just did your dirt. Now it's like, who can it's like a race to the bottom. Who can do the worst? You know? I pray for the family of that young man because, like, what I've learned is when people go to jail, it's not just them that are being affected, it's their family that they leave behind on the
Mhm.
outside that's also being affected. So, whatever this young man is doing, for whatever the reason, I pray for his family and I pray for his mental health because this right here, I'm sorry, this is, you know, more than obsessive compulsive at this point. Like you're obsessed with this man to the
Mhm.
point where you would give up your freedom.
Yep.
That's crazy talk. I'm sorry. You know how many people are in jail dying to see outside the prison walls? And here you are trying to run up in that place, up in that joint like it's going out of style? Oh Lord. I don't know. Do you have anything to say about this? Because girl,
I'm
I'm
done.
done.
I'm done.
I'm done. And I'm gonna move on into the workouts.
Your workout.
Yes. So as our listeners know, this is where, we work out our hearts and exercise our mental fitness and do deep dive discussions on things that are impacting our culture. So, we mentioned earlier in the headlines the Monique and DL Hughley situation. And, we can take it from a very obvious perspective, but I want to look at this in a different way. And so our workout is entitled Keeping It Classy. Okay. Keeping it classy, because somebody needs to talk to Monique about this right here. You know, okay, first I want to go in the direction of, yes, I know as a black woman, our expectations are so much higher than anybody else. And I get that. And as a black woman, yes, we should be protected in the entertainment industry. Yes, we should have fair pay, equal pay, and so on and so forth in the industry. We're working on it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, unfortunately. It will be a battle. And it's nice to see that Monique is trying to break that part of the industry. And I can respect that. But going on a 10-minute rant while you are to be performing is unacceptable. It's not classy in any shape or form, and it leaves a horrible taste in people's mouths. Now, we all know that with Monique and DL Hughley, they performed out in Detroit, Michigan. And um, there was some sort of, I guess, confusion about who was going to be closing out the show and who would be, I guess, the headliner.
Mm-hmm.
And so Monique thought she was, but D.L. Hughley thought he was. And so from my perspective looking in, because it's been plastered everywhere, so I don't really want to go too deep in the details. But my perspective looking in, this was an agent situation. Their agents need to be on this, or whoever is a part of the production of this comedy show needs to be contacted, and some things need to be rectified. Now, Monique decided to plaster this, not just through her act at the actual comedy show, but all over the social medias. Okay, this woman, for 10 minutes of people's paid time, because regardless of what you want to say, Monique, you were there to do a job. And that job was to entertain your guests. And they paid for you to do that. And instead, you went in and on this tyrant of a speech about D.L. Hughley and your contracts and all of this stuff that was not for the public's information. It was not for your guests' information. They're there paying you to release them of tension and stress, and now we're in some sort of a legal dispute mid-show. She went in on DL. And I'm sorry, but when you see the clips and you hear how she's going so in on this man, it was not just about this situation. It was deep-rooted. And I know that DL Hughley, he's a comedian. He's funny. However, he's said some really racy things over the years. We all know this. Maybe that's a part of his brand. I don't know. Yeah. But he has said some racy stuff about Monique. And so over his, her career, or I would say her lockout, or her, what she was blacklisted during that time frame, he went in on her quite a bit, and said some really nasty things. And so Monique had an opportunity to present herself as a classy, respectable act, and she didn't. Nope. Not even a little bit. She went in right down to the dog, okay? Right down to the man's dog. She's talking about him and his dog, his wife, his everything. And it was just disgusting. I'm going to say it. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I don't care what nobody tells me. I found that Monique likes to get off on her high horse that she's respectable. She's the anti-Monique, and
Mm,
that we should give her respect. But how she displayed herself and showed her ass, it was like, I can't respect that. I can't get down with that because
mm,
that's not the way to go. There have been other people in the same industry that she's in, okay, that are black women that have made it be known through other ways, through their classiness. And Viola Davis is one of them. And I always go back to her as an example because she has fought to get to the recognition that she's at right now. Okay, and she didn't do it by going down to the internet and putting everything on blast and calling out everybody known to man in the industry that she knows and is affiliated to of some kind. And on top of that, every black person that she could possibly call out in her shenanigans, she makes sure that she does. But when it was, what is it, Amy Schumer? When it was her, oh, we're sisters and we're sisters, oh, kumbaya with the sisters. When it was Roseanne Barr, Roseanne Barr has made some problematic statements about black people, but she's kumbaya with her, and I stand in solidarity and all of this as a comedian. But when it comes to your black people, you're calling out everybody and their mother,
mm.
okay? And these are the people who would rally behind you and who would support you, and this is what you've done. So I'm gonna let you go in on that, but I will say one thing, Monique. I've had enough of your ass. Okay, all I want is for you to either make a movie, okay, or do a comedy stand up without going in about your contract. I don't give a damn about that. I'm here for comic relief, and that's it, and that's all. So please get with the program. Like I told you the other day, you were able to crawl over glass to get your ass back into the industry. And now, what are we doing? What are we doing, Jeanette? Please and thanks.
Um, Keeping it classy. And if anybody hasn't figured that out yet, what Monique did is a prime example of not keeping it classy,
Thank you.
as much as she would like to appear as such. And so, my issue is, Monique, you just come out of the drama.
Yeah.
You just got the role with 50 Cent on
Please and
BMF.
thanks.
You got a lead role in Lee Daniels' new show Netflix for Netflix. Why can't you just quiet up? At this point, you need to
Simmer
just
down,
let
man.
the work
Simmer
do the
down.
talking. Let the work do the talking, and we want your price to go up because that's what started this whole drama. What? Oh,
In
actually,
the first place.
she had so much drama. But what the thing that started the Netflix job, where the request for the Netflix boycott was valued. She needed, she felt like she was being undervalued, and she was undervalued, to be
She
quite honest.
was.
But you know what? Sometimes you just have to do that extra work. You just have to do the extra work. And now you're now climbing your way back to getting more roles, doing more
Over the
high profile
glass.
things, right? And now we release this, proving everybody, well, not proving everybody, but proving a lot of people who you have a reputation for being difficult. And this fed right into that. So again, you're digging yourself a little bit again back into the hole as you're like halfway climbing out.
Over
And
the glass.
and
Okay.
and it's a shame because like you said, these people paid to entertain you, and you came on and you opened and said, I'm sorry, but I just had to fight to get on stage. But I was gonna leave, but I didn't want to leave, the people that came to see me. She literally said that. And so, bitch, why would you come on and say that and go rant for 10 minutes? Like, you're not giving them
which
a
is
show.
which is eating into your time.
You're eating. They came for comedy, not drama. It's not a
Not
theater.
drama.
Okay?
No, and the reason why this workout is entitled "Keeping It Classy" is because there's ways to go about
Exactly.
there's ways to go about this where you don't even have to be in the business. to understand it. And I'm not an actress, I'm not a comedian, so maybe I am coming from a different perspective, but I am very much into business in general. And you're bad business. You're bad business
Bad business.
because people put their neck out for you. You know what I'm
Yep,
saying?
that's what
50
Deal
Cent,
said.
50 Cent put his neck out for you. Okay. The T.S. Madison, that is from Foxhole,
Yep.
she put her neck out for you and gave you a wicked interview where you had a chance to, like, once and for all, let this off your damn chest. You've been fighting this battle for 10 years. Aren't you tired? Aren't you
Mm,
tired?
mm.
Don't you want to get back to what really you're fighting for? And that is that value that you feel you weren't given. And at this point, you have devalued your own damn self. You've
Yep,
devalued yourself to a point where this is a joke.
it's a joke. And so what I really wanted to happen, and like you said, in real life, how do you keep it classy, regardless of if you're a celebrity, entertainer, whatever, you're just a regular person working a 9 to 5. When you have conflict with somebody you're in agreement with, there are ways to address the conflict without burning bridges. And based on the
That's right.
response from DL Hughley, she burnt that bridge to the ground. And I have to say, he was an example of keeping it classy, because
Yes, he was.
she opened the door by making it public, but he came back and closed the door by addressing every point and also calling out the bad behavior, as well as blaming himself. He literally said, I blame myself because I knew, we all know what the reputation that was going around, what we've seen in the past few years, and she was hurt, and we understand why. But this was your chance to prove somebody wrong who turned down the opportunity to do shows with you previously. So it was really
Mm-hmm.
in your best
Mm-hmm.
interest to, again, make this smooth. But at the very least, if you not go on the stage and rip him to shreds, because she really did. It was actually very mean. It was very mean spirited. So, like you said, I think it's coming
Yeah,
from
and
way
she
back.
doubled down on it. She
Mm-hmm.
doubled down on it too, Jeanette. And I don't know if you know this, but so after DL, he responded. She came back after that, okay.
I
And
know,
when the
yeah.
shit started to hit the fan, then she started talking about his daughter,
Daughter, yeah, I know.
who was sexually, harassed by someone that they know, and
Mm,
his response to it. And as a father, he didn't do the right thing, but
mm,
that wasn't your story to tell. That wasn't your
yeah.
story to tell. Number one. Number two, be quiet. You've said
Now, because now
enough. You
again,
said
the
enough.
class. So what do you call it? It's she's so far away from class. She's like she's gone to the dirt. Like it's just like you're rolling around in the dirt now, Monique, and nobody's
Well, you're
and
classless.
he's not giving
You're
her enough.
classless.
He's not giving her enough for her to be getting so nasty. Here's the classy way for me. The classy way for me was
Yes, I'll tell
the
you what.
minute
I
she
would have. Mm-hmm.
the minute she found out that she was not the um, headliner per se, because that's really what this. It's all ego, really.
Pretty
But the minute
much.
she found that out, and you know, DL was supposed to close, I think she should have went to the. She should have said, "Am I getting paid the same amount of money?" Because you agreed, whatever is on your contract, you agreed to the money. So really, it shouldn't really matter at the end. But once you figured out, go do your show. Do your show. And then you talk to DL, because if she talked to DL instead of, like, they literally didn't even talk to each other. Like it was just the in between person telling her that she has to go on, and she was scheduled to go on for that time that she arrived. So she even arrived late, but she was like trying to kill the time so that they would force him to kind of go on in front of her. But that wasn't gonna. He wasn't. That was not gonna happen. And so anyway, yes. So then after she went to talk to him, or she just did her set, and she could still want to been pissed or whatever and talk to his people, then she would have figured out much sooner, before she embarrassed herself, that the contracts or the agreements both had them as headliners. But that's the way I would have done it. Like, you talk to the people who created the agreement, not DL
Mm-hmm.
Hughley. Because if you look at all the materials, it's clear that DL Hughley was the headliner or the star of that show. I think it's
Well,
pretty
he
clear.
brought her in on it. Like
And
he
he
brought
brought her,
her in
yes,
on
and
it.
that was an agreement. So there's obviously some mixed communication, and so that's kind of how I would have wanted her to deal with it. But yeah, what were you gonna
Well,
say?
the way I think she could have dealt with it and still made an impact
Hmm.
is like I've been throwing out for the last little while. You crawled over glass to get to this point, right? So you're back into the industry. You're working yourself back into the industry. You're getting people more familiar with Monique again because
Hmm.
you haven't been doing much for almost 10 years. That's a
Hmm.
long time
Hmm.
for people to know your work and care about your work, especially in the time that we're in. Things come and go so quickly, okay? Like, you could be in the distant past in like 2 weeks.
Mm.
So the fact that you had this opportunity and DL Hughley, even though he went against better judgment, gave you an opportunity. What you showed everybody that helped to segue you back in, and you slapped them in their face with this nonsense. That's what you did first. So how I would have handled this situation is I would have went up there and I would have performed. And now I have something to show that I held up my end of the contract. And then I would have went back and said, no, no, no. I was supposed to be headliner. So whatever the headliner was supposed to get, that's what you have to pay me. Okay? Or sort that out with DL. Or before you go on, speak to DL. Or speak to someone who you who knows about this contract and so on and ask for an update on it. You could have went behind the scenes and dealt with this very maturely. You could have dealt with it with style and grace, like how you're telling people not to wear bonnets in the airport. How you have these videos where you're sitting in your robe, all decent and mature. Oh yeah, you're so big and bad, and you classy and mature, but yet this is how you function with your career that has been gone through the ringer. So you should have just did the act. If you wanted to poke jabs at DL, you could have. I think you were very distasteful in how you attacked this this man and his family, his daughter, his dog, his wife. That wasn't called for. They had nothing to do with it. His sexuality, really, because you allowed your ego to make your head so big that it was bigger than the room you were in. Because you just got in the door to that same room and you have the nerve that once you pass the threshold to be going on like this.
Hmm.
Well, you know what? Let's call your career a wrap. Okay, it's a wraps because you're doing the nonsense. You're doing too much. Okay, and the people who could have helped you to revamp your career, you're now at odds with. And what I don't like that you specifically do, because even if that's how you decide to handle your business, why do you have to draw and drag everybody through the mud? Why are we talking about Steve Harvey?
Yeah,
Where did he come into
she's
play?
just not. She's just, the class has left the building, and I think the irony, the hypocrisy is killing me. And so she is saying, I'm tired as a woman. This is like something against women, and
Oh yeah, I
she's
remember when
she's bringing
she
in
said
every argument, but it's clearly not the case. Like, that's just not what's happening, because he didn't get in the dirt with you. He kept
no,
it
and
classy.
no, he didn't. He didn't get in the dirt with you, and I think that's what you want people to do. However, they
Mm,
have a livelihood to protect. Okay,
exactly.
so they're not going to get into the dirt with you. I'm sorry, they're not. You don't you see from the last 10 years you've been in the dirt by yourself.
Mm,
So
that's a word.
so I'm just trying to understand this. Like, you've been rolling around in the dirt by yourself for the last 10 years. Don't you see that nobody gives a shit? Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
because If you want me to value you, show me why I should value you. This is going contrary to valuing you. This is contrary because now you're a liability. And like DL Hughley, he had to think about it before he did
Yeah,
it.
he did.
But he gave you a shot. He went against his better judgment. He went against the counsel of his own staff. He went against everything to give you a chance. And that's what you did with that opportunity? Really? So miss me with the bullshit. Like, I'm done with it. I'm done with you. I'm sorry, Monique. You're funny as hell,
Yeah.
but until you can get your shit together, this is a very distasteful, classless example of a black woman in the industry of acting and comedy. I'm sorry. This is a horrible example. There are tons of other black women who have been in the exact same position you are in.
Exactly. Yeah, and they handled it
Okay?
much better.
And handled it so much better and were able to rise. And still I rise. Okay? So even though they're trying to hold you back and pay you less and pay Amy Schumer more and do all of this, and still I rise.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Viola Davis. She's all over.
What's
She's in everything.
I'm trying to remember what you said. You said she's disillusioned. I think she's like she is completely disillusioned with her place in the industry. Monique, yes, you won an Oscar, but you have been gone
10
for 10
years
years.
ago.
And you're gonna have to continue to crawl back. And this, girl, you're gonna have to learn to keep it classy.
This is why you weren't keeping it classy, Auntie Monique. What the irony and the irony of it all, and the hypocrisy, like you said, and I want to address that very briefly. Her hypocrisy was the clincher for me on lacking any class. First, you made a big stink about Oprah coming out about your sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yet you just did that to DL
Yeah, that was,
daughter.
and that's where all her credibility is gone. I'm actually done with Monique. I'm literally
That's
done
why I
with
say
Monique.
this, right?
I'm done with her.
That's your first step right there. Second, I've seen you ride or die for people like Roseanne Barr. You've rocked with her. She's had many times people have called her out for her racial commentary and stuff. Yet you ride with her. Yet you call Amy Schumer the same competitor in your industry, but you're sisters in comedy with her. Yet you will call out everybody known to man who is actually there that looks like you, that can help you in your career. You've snuffed all of them. Okay? You've snuffed 50 Cent. You've snuffed Spike Lee. You've snuffed D.L. Hughley. Now the list can go on and on and on. Yet you do that to your people. You do that to your people, but you ride with everybody else. That's hypocrisy number 2. Number 3, the clincher for me, in terms of her behavior, okay, was that you went in on this man and he gave you a chance. He gave you a chance and you went in on this man. Here you are talking about value and I should be valued and da-da-da. Well, here's a black man that saw value in you. He saw value in you. He went against his better judgment and saw value in you. And you ripped him to shreds, right down to the dog.
The dog, the daughter, and the wife.
What did the dog do to you? What did the dog and his wife do to you? What did Steve Harvey do to you? You see, Tyler Perry at one point was trying to apologize to you. But your head was too big that you couldn't hear that he was trying to apologize to you.
And you know what I have to say? This is, we're going to wrap this up. But what I want to say, I think everything that sums up what you're saying, I hear you're getting angry. And I think we're angry with Monique because we love Monique.
I'm done with her.
She's frustrating us. We've been rooting for her. And she came back with this. And to me, it's bitter. It's mean. And this is just an example with people. If somebody does you wrong, and we talk about the power of forgiveness. And I know we started with keeping it classy, and we've dug that into the ground. But out of this conversation, something that just occurred to me after hearing and seeing everything, the back and forth, it's terrible that it's public. But the power of forgiveness is for the person who's been wronged. And if you
Amen.
don't find it in your heart to forgive people, all it does is eat and eat and eat away at you. And you know what? That's
Yep.
what we're seeing. Now that I'm really thinking about everything I've
Yep.
seen and the nastiness from Monique,
Mm-hmm.
that's bitterness. That's a bitterness of not forgiving those who have wronged you. And she needs to start a journey of forgiveness, because I think that will take this burden that is on her, this bitterness that is on her, and free her, because right now she's her own worst enemy.
Yeah, and
Everybody's
I
been
feel
rooting for her.
and they have been. And yes, we will wrap this up, but I will say this about Monique is that you need a slice of humble pie.
She's
You
gonna
need
feel it. She's gonna
you
feel
need
it.
a slice of humble pie where you've pounded this so far into the concrete that nobody wants to hear you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. And maybe that's your slice of humble pie where nobody cares, nobody's listening, nobody's doing nothing. And you will fade into the distance. And hopefully at that point, you learn that, you had a part to play in this too.
Oh yeah.
You had a part to play in this too. And so humble up yourself and forgive those who might have done things wrong, and also forgive yourself. Because I
Yes. Yeah.
think that you've gone on this hobo tour for the last 10 years because you really, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. In one breath, you're talking about respectability and how we shouldn't go through the airport with bonnets. But I'm sorry, I'd rather see a girl all day long in a bonnet at an airport than to hear you rant and rave like this.
Mm.
And lastly, one nuance that I wanted to mention was that what the hell are you saying to the world? Okay? Other people, other races are watching this shit. And they're saying, black people, man, boy, not only do they go out and purposely kill each other, but they can't do business either. Okay, there's a lot of people that will take what you've done and just one stroke of the brush for the rest of us. Okay, so I'm sorry, Monique, but you need to come off of your high horse. Your head needs to be deflated. You need to go sit down and take a slice of humble pie. And in the meantime, leave D.L. Hughley and his family alone. Get over yourself. You're not that important. I don't care what accolades you have. I don't care what awards you have. How you handled yourself. You lacked any sort of class. So I will not be calling you Auntie Monique Nada, because that's not someone I want to follow. That is not someone I want to emulate. That is not someone I even want to see this behavior on ever again. Sorry, Monique, not this time. But I'm gonna try to bring this back to something positive right here. Bring it back. And the positivity that I can say I can gather from this is there's ways to do things and there's ways not. Use this as an example, especially in the business world. Doesn't matter what respect you are in the business world. Use it as a guide of how not to act. Go the opposite direction. Now we've seen the filth, go for the light, because this is not it. And we've learned a valuable lesson. We all have. Monique, I'm done with you. But anywho, to end off our show, I do want to say we hope that your hearts and minds have been activated on this week's show. Whether you lead with your heart or your mind, stay passionate and thoughtful. We'll chat to you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.